Let's go.
Why do you make videos?
I enjoy being on my own. People think I am, the salesperson. I like talking to people, which I do, but I like being on my own, in my own space. Just sitting down, just chilling out, got the headphones on, I like to share experiences. So I like to share, all my writing and stuff. And I think that's a really good question. Why do I make videos in cycling? Cycling has long had a sort of culture of pretentiousness. And I came from a football background, and football was all about mateship and camaraderie. And then when I came into cycling, so that was during my Navy days, and then when I came into cycling, it was quite pretentious. And I was like at parties and stuff with cyclists, and I was like, what's going on with these weirdos? They're just not talking to anyone. So my videos are a way of showing people that, this is about mateship, and it's about camaraderie, and it's about just enjoying and sharing mutual, let's all be friends. So that's what I try to convey in my videos.
What was the first thought you had when you quit your job?
I really thought, how quickly are we going to run out of money, savings? That's the first thing. You sort of panic a bit. You're like, oh my God, have I got enough money to do this? But this is what I love doing. I really enjoy it, and I love cycling. And so I'm trying to be optimistic about the future and all the opportunities that will come out of this YouTube channel. But yeah, I think paying the bills was the big worry initially. Still not sure about all that yet, but it'll come. It will survive regardless, right? It's first world problems.
There's a lot about you that not many people know. Well, even I've known you for a while, but you said you were in the Navy.
Well, I was in the Navy from a young age, from 15, I think. I just turned 15 or 16. And so that was the crux of my cycling. I was cycling, racing. My dad got me into racing. And so I left school. I hated school. I wagged school every day, and I was a surfer. I was wagging school to go surfing. And I did this for 6 months. And eventually the teacher was like, where is this kid? And I went to a public school, and they got in touch with my dad, who was a police officer at the time. And they got in touch with Dad, and they said, your kids never come to school. What's going on? And Dad was like, what the hell? And I was down the beach surfing every day, pretty much. Not every day, but I wagged school a lot to go surfing. And I was cycling and stuff, and then Dad was like, nah, we're not having this. If you're going to wag school, you're going to go get a job. So I left school and joined the Navy. That was the only thing I could sort of think of. And my family were all Defence Force, people. Dad was a cop. My uncles were in the Defence Force. So I thought, no one's done the Navy. I'm doing the Navy.
What is the most heavy-hitting story that you have from the Navy that you can disclose on the internet?
3 a.m. in Bangkok or somewhere, on the top of a roof of a taxi doing 100 kilometres an hour down the freeway, surfing the taxi with my belt tied around the cab.
What type of belt was it?
It was a black Rivers belt.
Okay, so you were into the rivers back then, hey?
Rivers were huge. Rivers were huge. Craziest thing I ever did was doing Kakadu. This Kakadu. So Kakadu is a war games that the Australian Navy do with the US Navy.
Okay.
And they do it off Darwin. And so they have warplanes coming in and simulating attacks and ships and things like that.
Fuck, it's like that movie. You seen that movie?
No. So we were doing that, and I remember on the deck of the ship, I was sitting on the deck of the ship, and we'd have F-18s flying over, mate, and you'd think nothing of it. I'd be sitting there working, because I was a communication tech. So I was sitting there working on my electrical stuff on the upper deck, shirt off,
with the Rivers belt on.
With the Rivers belt on, just, hat, a Cobra, just chilling out on the upper decks, getting some tan on, out in the middle of the ocean. And so the captain, after a while, the captain turns around and goes, look, I've had a gut for all this. He was a young guy. He was 35. He goes, we're going to have a break from this, because everyone had been working 4 hours on, 4 hours off for days on end, right? That's action stations is 4 hours on, 4 hours off. So he pulled off from the fleet, and we went off into this place out in the middle of the ocean. Now, this is a destroyer escort, so this is a big warship. We tied a rope to the back of the ship, and he picked 5 people, names into a hat. I was one of them. We got the dinghy off the ship, got the skis, jumped off the dinghy, picked up the rope as the ship got up to speed on the back of the dinghy, and jumped off the dinghy and started water skiing behind the ship. I remember seeing the gun turrets, the radars, the big mast of the ship, just going, mate, who's done this?
So we're in the Navy, we're on the top of fucking cabs, we're in the ocean. Yeah. Where does it lead us?
So got through the Navy, right, realised that, so I got to I was 24, and I realised that I could stay in the Navy forever. And I looked at all these old men, and they were sailors for all of their lives, and they didn't know anything else. No disrespect to people who choose to do that, but there's more to life. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's an experience in the moment, and I think when that experience is come to the end of its tether, which is usually after about 4 to 10 years, I think beyond 10 years, or even 7 or 8 years, you start to get into this routine where it's just, you become, it's safety.
It's just comfortable.
That's right, you know, and I'm really against that, right? Because life is meant to be lived. You get one crack at life. So I thought, you know what, it's time to move on. So I quit the Navy, and I got out, and it was I remember being the hardest year of my life, because going from the safety of the Navy, where you get everything, you know, you get your medical paid for, they look after you, they put a roof over your head, everything's looked after. So I'd never really experienced the real world. And so to suddenly be shafted into the real world at 24, 25, it was like, whoa, and actually having to work for a living, it was heavy. So I got a job at Malcolm Thompson Pumps, and I was selling pumps to mining companies, and I hated that. It was in line with what I'd done with electrical in the Navy, because I knew a lot about electronics and electrical. I was an electronic technician. Water works the same way as electricity.
Okay.
So I had a little bit of familiarity with, you know, how that works. And then I moved on I sold suits. And then I remember standing there selling suits to people in this little suit shop, Tony Barlow Menswear, looking across at the massive Telstra building. And I was like, I'm a tech. What am I doing selling suits? So I went over the road and I applied for a job as a technician with Telstra, and I got the job. And I spent 7 years in Telstra. I was an ADSL installer. So the first time ADSL came to Australia, we were the team of 40 who rolled it out to all the burbs. I got jack of that after a while, and a mate of mine was working for a pharmaceutical company. And I thought, what a great sea change, selling something completely different that I've never done before. And so this is an opportunity, so I took it up and I started selling pharmaceutical products. And that was tears. I hated doing that. Because you had to go into GPs and tell GPs about their pharmaceutical products, and, you know, they knew. It was the worst job, right? Yeah. And you had to take lunches in like you was just some lunch chick taking lunches into the doctors.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I hated that, but it was good money, and it was a pretty good job in terms of, you know, you got all the perks that come with it. You got flown around Australia, went to all the conferences and stuff. And so the natural progression from that to earn good bucks is surgical devices, where you're in theatre. And so I went into selling surgical devices after that, and that's where I am today.
You were selling surgical devices?
Yeah.
You were slowly making YouTube videos at the same time?
Slightly, yeah. So I won Rep of the Year in my first 2 years. So we're a big surgical device company. And I really put in a lot of work for the first 2 years of the job. And in the second year of doing it, I won Sales Rep of the Year for the nation. So I won an award, and I went to Hawaii, and we just had this awesome time. It was all expenses paid, business class, it was like extravagance extraordinaire, you know? And then after that, it's like the greyhound, I don't want to sound like a wally, but it's after the greyhound catches the hare. You know, the greyhounds, and they reckon that if a greyhound catches the hare, the greyhound never runs again. Well, I was on a steady decline there after winning that award, because I was like, well,
what's there left to do?
What's there left to do in this job? Other than making lots of money, and money is not a driver to me. So I started doing cycling videos at some stage along the way. It was like 3 years ago I started making these videos, and I thought, what a great way to share 25 years worth of experience in cycling with the new people coming through the sport, into the sport.
This is funny.
Why?
We were sitting in the same position 2 years ago at the Tour Down Under.
Yeah.
I know for me personally that you're not in my life by coincidence. It's not a mistake that you're here. And it's not even a mistake that you're still in my life and you're doing better than me. I fucking know that for a fact.
Oh, I think
I know that for a fact. I'm not sitting in this chair by chance. And you're not either.
Yeah, I'll never forget when I started my channel. I remember there were some big YouTubers that I followed. It was obviously Durian Rider. There was you. You were like up there, man. It was like you and Durian Rider and maybe a couple others that I used to watch.
Yeah.
And then you sent me a message one day.
I remember sending that message.
You sent me a message saying, "Hey Mark, love your channel." And this is when I had 1,000 subs.
You were riding from Melbourne to Adelaide. I said, this guy's fucking crazy.
You emailed me and I remember getting the message or the email from you and I was like, fuck man, a big YouTuber's just hit
Isn't
me
that
up.
funny, eh?
It was so awesome. I was like, whoa, Abdullah's just messaged me.
Yeah.
I said to Hannah. And then we caught up at Adelaide. And now look at us, man.
2 years ago, if that happened, and then I met you, and then 2 months later, you started doing really well, I'd be super spiteful. It's almost like our relationship was there to teach me how not to be spiteful.
Yeah.
How to feel good for someone else's success. To see someone else doing well and be like, you know what? I'm actually happy for this motherfucker that he's doing well. Because up until that point, I wouldn't have. I'd have been like, fuck Mark.
Completely different walks of life, but the energies like transcended them differences and brought us together.
When I was in the Navy, you would have still been in primary school. So when were you born?
94.
So you weren't even alive when I was in the Navy.
So my mum was falling in love with my father when you were in the Navy on the back of a fucking taxi. To me, that excites me. Like, I want to rip the cameras in half because I'm just thinking in the head, how the fuck?
It's a testament to who we are as people that there's what, 20 something years, you know, but I don't see you as an older person, as a young, you know, we're on the same level.
I just see you as I see you, you know what I mean? Like, I don't come into the situation like, nah, me and Mark can't be friends because he's 40.
I think that, you know, historically people have got that respect your elders thing. It comes from my parents and stuff. I think all that's out the window now. I think older people can learn from the young crew about social media and stuff like that. And you can learn so much from young people. And there shouldn't be that degrading sort of attitude towards young people. I mean, you're in my relationship, we're mates. I don't even see you as a younger guy.
Now I'm on the thing, it's just like, now I just see human beings, bro. If your light's dark as fuck and you're trying to shine it on me, I don't give a fuck if you're 50, I don't give a fuck if you're 60, I don't give a fuck if you're 10, bro. I don't want a part of it. I know why you have so much support. I know why, because I've sat back and I've had to say to myself,
I don't know why.
Don't be a jealous motherfucker. If someone...
Really?
Oh, I've had to, man. Trust me. It's real interesting, dude. It's a level of like, okay, let me put on my fucking shoes and like, let's enter my head.
So
let's
why
open the
is
door. Because you're a good fucking person. Yeah. That's just it. You have good intentions. And I don't know if you know that, but you do. For a person out there to make me overcome my level of jealousy, I mean, you got to have a beaming light, dude. It's okay to be a good person. You don't need to be a cunt no more. That's 2007.
Yeah. I've never really understood it. I often say to people when I describe about my videos, and people say, God, how have you grown such a large audience? I'm like,
the intention.
I don't know.
But that's exactly why though, because you didn't reverse engineer the process from the start. You weren't like, I'm Mark, I'm not going to swear, I'm going to try and be a good dude so that in hopes that one day I build a following and then I make hell cash and then I can sit in my fucking pad and be like, yo, I live the best life.
No, thanks, brother. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think through this whole process, I've just tried to be myself. And whenever I do something and I'm really passionate about doing it, like these videos, like that ride across to Adelaide, I lugged that laptop. You know, a lot of people laughed at me for taking that laptop and stuff, but that laptop was so that I could upload videos. You know, I lugged that laptop in that backpack. It was 20 kilos. You ask Rhino because he put that bad boy on his back and carried it for X amount of kilometers on the last day. But I carried that laptop so that we could have videos from the actual event.
That laptop is why you're here. That's mind-blowing, dude. The fact that if you didn't carry that backpack along the way, we would not be having this conversation. I wouldn't even be sitting in this fucking chair right now, dude. Just because of one decision, dude. That makes me think that everything I do has to have good intentions because I might be paying for it in 10 years' time.
So you saw, because there was 3 videos, so you saw...
I saw one of them.
Yeah.
I felt compelled to tell you that you were good.
It is interesting because there's not a lot of big YouTubers that do that sort of thing to the smaller channels?
I think now more and more, unless as YouTube becomes more a competitive market, you're going to see that even less. Because when I first started getting on YouTube, I had mates, who were big on fitness YouTube. Shout outs were like big, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but do shout outs work?
Not anymore.
I have a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot, but I have people.
Don't give anyone a shout out if they ask for it. Yeah. Fuck them. God forbid I had a massive channel and everyone's like, oh my God, you have a massive channel. Yeah. Who the fuck are you to come up to me and ask for a shout out for no reason?
It irritates me.
I feel bad for you, bro. To have the fucking balls to approach me to ask for a shout out. Yeah. Like, what kind of mind frame are you in, bro?
It's exhibiting laziness. I've had people who have done 2 videos, they've asked me for a shout out. I didn't give them a shout out. And then 1 video later they quit. Like, I won't shout out anyone unless they've done 100 plus videos. And they're showing signs of consistency over long periods of time. When they do that, that's when I'll start shouting them out.
And also,
and that's what I expect people who are beyond me as well. Like, people that I aspire to be, they have the attributes that I aspire to have. So, for example, I was a bit disappointed with Casey Neistat's finishing vlogging, right? Yeah, he strung together a lot of vlogs over a long period of time, and he restructured the way we vlog. So
he did. He was a pioneer in vlogging.
He really was a pioneer in the way that I've actually now do my vlogs. Yeah. But to see a guy quit like that, and obviously he's had other opportunities come up, but I really get irritated with people who quit. Really irritated. For example, Cosmo Catalano.
Hey, but you quit.
Quit what?
Talking about it before, you said with the people, whatever the fucking dog we were talking about, when you say when it's there, you don't want it no more.
I suppose...
He reached the top of
He reached
vlogging.
the top, yeah, you're right. Okay, you make a really fair point.
At that point, doing daily videos doesn't challenge you no more, bro. You need something bigger. It's almost like you're so used to uploading that time away from uploading is the biggest challenge. He
was really a symbol, a flag for us, at the top to say, hey guys, this is where it's at now. If you want to see good quality content, or you even in a commercial sense, with advertisers throwing so much money at TV, come to the YouTube. Come to YouTube. This is where it's commercially potentially at in the future. And so Casey was flying that flag, and you saw that with Samsung and other brands coming across to YouTube.
Fucking not sponsored, paid to promote. YouTube's a great medium, bro, because you can learn. I've learned a lot of stuff on YouTube. People almost don't know how to take that information and use it their own will. They almost see it and they go, I'm going to emulate this completely. Once you allow yourself to be yourself, it becomes easy. Yeah. And you realize, but at the start when you start vlogging, it's like this burden, because every time you turn on the camera, you're like, how am I going to talk about the coffee cup today? Like, you have all this like mental baggage built up in your head that you're not even really thinking about, but you subconsciously are thinking about, what's everyone going to think of this? Is it good enough? What about this? What about that? But the more you do it and the more time you stick with it, you slowly revert back to being more in line with who you are, and it becomes easier because then...
Because it becomes more natural.
Yeah, and people feel that, bro. People don't know why. Like, even if you stutter, even if you fuck up, even if you do anything, if you're being yourself, people fucking love it. There's nothing more inspiring to me than seeing someone do what they want to do and what they love and being okay with who they are, because it makes me feel empowered to be who I am. Yeah. It's saying, you know what? It's okay to be yourself. Yeah. And how many times do you walk around in daily life and someone says to you, Mark, it's okay to be yourself? My mum said it to me for a little bit when I was young, be yourself, be yourself.
That's what the intention is. It's not a cycle. People think it's a cycling channel. It's not a cycling channel. It's just to be good to each other. This cycling's what I do. It's what I love doing. But really, what I'm trying to remind people of every day is just be nice to each other. Just be cool. Be exactly what you just said. Be good with who you are as a person and just chill. Don't take it too seriously. It's like when I got hit by, that car, when I smashed my bike and broke my wrist. There were circumstances. The guy was from Korea. He was lost. He was on the wrong side of the road. Most people would have torn him a new arsehole there and then. But at the end of the day, the guy was just going about his day and he made a mistake, and shit happens. There's no point getting angry about it. It's when you drive down the road to get your milk and you're in a hurry and stuff's going on. You don't scream at someone for cutting you off.
You might not feel it, but there's a connection between you and human beings that you obviously understand. Like, you understand not to get thrashed out of this dude from Korea who crashed into you, because ultimately at the end of the day, you're both human beings. What's the fucking point? Most people don't see it like that, bro. They live in this like really physical built world that someone else has built for them, where it's like, you ran over fucking me, you're a fucking enemy, like, why should I be fucking nice to you? What can you do for me? I'm only gonna be nice to you if you can give me a fucking shout out, yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly right, I agree with you. And going back to your answer about do you get better at making videos the more videos you make? Not necessarily. I'm learning that my videos recently, because I've backed off the frequency, the actual quality is getting better, you know, like audio and just
Is it more
color
challenging?
grading. It's more challenging and it takes a lot longer to make the video. Like I made that.
That's what Casey did.
Well, those Iron Man videos, man, I took 8 to 10 hours to make each of those videos because I was color grading, I was doing little things, tweaking things, watching video tutorials, for example. There was a couple of clips where I sped up the end and then sped up the beginning of the new clip, so it sort of looked as though I was flashing into a new clip. That took me 2 hours to Google how to do that.
No one cares and no one's meant to know.
That's right. It's like an umpire on the ground. You don't want a good umpire, you don't want to see the umpire ever.
All I want to know is that I'm catching a feeling, I'm catching a vibe. You know what I love about YouTube, bro? It's just like, I want to see you live your life and be yourself. Then it becomes good to me. So anyone can make YouTube videos, man. Yeah. Anyone. It doesn't have to, if you want to be into that more stylized and you have like this internal rhythm that you can, not like the rhythm where it's like, let's just chop to the beat. Like you have a kind of rhythm to the way you edit and there's a style. Yeah, it's sick. But there's a rhythm and style to just being yourself because you're an individual. Yeah. And if you were okay with being you and you recognize the fact that I'm truly unique and I'm gonna allow myself to be unique, and even, you think it's boring because the world wants you to think you're boring, but you're actually not. And if you become okay with that fact, I guarantee you that's gonna transcend your YouTube video to me and I'm gonna be hooked. Let's jump off the deep end. Let's talk Indie Pack.
Okay, so let's clarify what Indie Pack is for the people that don't know what Indie Pack is. So it is a unsupported race across Australia on road bikes, okay, on bicycles, fully unsupported. You're not even allowed to grab a banana from a spectator along the route. You're not allowed to book hotels. You have to rock up to Fremantle on the 18th of March at 5 a.m, 6 a.m, whatever it is, and everyone, 80 riders, take off together, male and female, and you are fully unsupported. You're allowed a credit card and the bits and pieces that you're allowed to carry with you, and you've got to get across to Sydney via Adelaide and Melbourne.
What's going to save you on the Indie Pack race?
I expect that I am going to go through purgatory at some point, really bad, and want to give up. And I think the thought of getting to 60 years of age and looking back, I'm thinking to myself, you quit. You pulled the pin in Norseman.
That fucking word hurts, man, to hear, eh?
I want to go through absolute, whatever I have to go through to get across to Sydney.
You're going to be like a fucking eagle crashing and burning just so you can get rebuilt, dude.
Yeah, like it's potentially, not die, but you put yourself through, people are going to put themselves through a lot of hell, man. Like, they're going to go to the edge.
This is the HGH of all rides, dude. Like, this is the real deal.
I don't want to take anything away from the Transcontinental because that is an epic, epic adventure on par with this, as are many other races around the world, long-distance races. But Australia is different because of its remoteness, because of the remoteness of the towns. You've got many, many hours of riding between towns, especially across the Nullarbor, where you won't see water or food for 6 hours of riding. So that's dangerous.
Think about having all that fucking time to yourself, dude.
Yeah.
What's the conversation going to be like after a week and a half, bro? You're going to be questioning some heavy duty shit that only 80 hours of straight riding can bring about. You're going to contemplate your life. I don't think anyone couldn't, bro. Like, imagine being out in the middle of nowhere for that long by yourself with no one, with fuck all water, with fuck all food, being that tired, that stressed out, and in a race.
When you're in that of an uncomfortable situation, how do you even know what you do?
I have an idea of you being on the Nullarbor and saying, who the fuck am I? I don't want to be here no more. But the only thing I can feel in the back of my fucking mind is keep turning these cranks because I know that's the right thing to do. When you're going to come out of this, bro, you're going to come out of this like a new, like the most fresh, new human being. Like literally you and Neo who just broke out of the fucking Matrix. And you're going to say to anyone, like, I don't need certainty no more. You know what I'm certain of? That I'm here to save myself. That's the answer. What's going to save you on the fucking India Wheel Pacific real race? You're going to save yourself, no one else. And that's what this race is going to do. Isn't that exciting though? And that's why I'm going to be there to film it too. I know you're a tough motherfucker. I know it. Because you wouldn't be here if you weren't. People asking, how's Maven going to do? I say, me and Maven are fucking friends. He's going to crush it.
It's going to be interesting. Like, I certainly haven't been training, but I don't think it's a race about... I don't think that's absolutely necessary. I think what this is going to be is your head. You're going to have your head on. There's a lot of people going into this race, including myself, who really don't know what we're in for.
I don't think anyone could prepare themselves for it.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can. And naivety is a good thing.
You know what, bro? It's about not even caring about what you're in for. It's about to say, I'm in for whatever I'm fucking in for.
That's right.
And if I'm in for this, if I'm on the Nullarbor thinking, who the fuck am I? That's definitely going to happen. Yeah. That's what it's meant to be.
If there wasn't a certain amount of unknown about this, it wouldn't be an adventure.
I think it's a great time for you. A great time for you because you've just left your job. The epitome of certainty and security. And you're about to do this race. You're completely uncertain about how you're going to feel.
Yeah, this is a really interesting time in my life. You've hit the nail on the head. I mean, I'm always seeking uncertainty. It's the adrenaline rush of the uncertainty and it's the adventure. And I think you've got to always be erring yourself on that journey.
Mate, if you're not on the edge, you're on the fucking couch. The naturopath told me to stop drinking Pepsi. I told him to fuck off. This is going to cement the fact that you are your own security, Maeve. You are your own savior. You are the fucking one. You're looking at me through your eyes, bro. This whole world around you is created from your head. There's probably been a reoccurring theme throughout your life where you've had to have a level of self-proactiveness. Like you've had to go out and do it yourself. Yeah. That might come from selling shit and having to go out of your way to sell shit more. And now with YouTube videos, it's completely related to what you do. You get what you put out.
You get a set lot in life. You're born into X amount of dollars. You're born into a certain life. And it's up to you to structure your future. It's your responsibility. And the opportunities are endless. It's all in your attitude. And you've got to take yourself to a higher level. And that's what I try to do.
Like you can be your modern day Neo. Like you can be that savior for your own life if you start thinking like that and you start working towards it, bro. I'm not saying you're gonna be able to bend fucking bullets and shit, but I'm saying if you're encountering some old dude trying to throw you bad energy, you can put up your fucking wall and deflect that shit straight out, bro. And that's gonna be stopping the bullets anyway, dude. So I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm getting drunk off coffee. Maven, all I gotta say before I finish off is when you see the door and the white light's beaming through the door, I want you to roundhouse kick the fucking hinge off the door and kick the door down and then spit on the door for me and say, you're not holding me here anymore.
I'm not walking through the door.
No, you're roundhouse kicking the door, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
What I'm trying to say is when the white light's there, your duty is to kick it down for me and the Glucose Network, okay? You have to. And we'll know about it, bro. Thanks for being on the show, mate.
Thanks for making me think, brother.
It's good, mate. It's good. That was great.